I've seen this movie 5 times now and I still don't understand it, so let me tell you a story that makes no sense. So it's November 2021 and I go to Walmart with my then roommates and I spot the $7 movie bargain bin. Anyways, I go scrambling around and I immediately find this double feature and I realize that it might be a Majesty of Cinema. Purely because one of the films looks like a German Fast and Furious knockoff and the other one is a hockey team run by 6-year-olds. So I then proceeded to spend the $7 and then I did not watch it for a year because you cannot rush perfection. The one we're going to be watching today is V8 Start Your Engines, which the best way I can describe this film is Peter Pan but with go-karts. I say that because this movie tries to do so much and they pass with flying colors because I have seen it 5 times now and I am still lost. So much so that this is a movie I cannot cover on my own. So I enlisted the help of my friends Danny and AJ from Sour Pack.
It's Sour Pack, baby!
It is Sour Pack.
Yeah. What's up?
Yes.
Dude, act more excited.
I originally showed them this movie at 3 a.m. on a Sunday night after we went to Hershey Park the same day, but that 3 a.m. footage corrupted, so there's no visual proof we were ever in the same room. Except for the video on their channel where they try to murder me with Hot Wheels.
Can we modify it to just murder him?
So because the footage corrupted and not a single one of us remembered anything about the movie, we got into a call and rewatched the movie together and then had a talk to camera where we tried to piece together what the hell we had just witnessed without a script. And because of that, this video is going to be way more unstructured than it normally is, mainly because trying to summarize this movie is like the flashbang scene in Saving Private Ryan. We are all so confused. So I might come in to explain some key plot details, but until then, witness the 3 of us try to explain Peter Pan but with go-karts, and if that title sounds interesting and confusing, it's more of the latter. We just watched it for the 2nd time now.
1.5 times.
1.5 times, I would say that's my first time watching that movie.
There are go-karts. There is a small boy with red hair.
Who, dude, honestly, fucking sucks so bad.
He's the worst character in the movie.
He's terrible.
During our watching, you kept like saying, I hate this kid.
Dude, David fucking sucks. I do. I know AJ said at one point that one of the other characters had a very punchable face. I thought the dude who played David, the main character, had the most egregiously punchable face. I legitimately wanted to knock out a child during that watch.
AJ, did you share the same sentiment?
It was like the kid could not and did not act like at all. Like
I'm so mad. I hate this.
Like he would smile when he's supposed to be angry, or he would smile when he's supposed to be upset.
I hate her, Mom. I wanted a
He
go-kart.
said smiling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's smiling.
I hate you, Mom. I hope you die. And then he flips over a giant table.
He didn't know how to fucking emote.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Some of the translation had to have gotten fucked up with that because that's a German movie. I'm giving it like a little bit of a pass because I don't know how well the translation was and if they were just like, maybe this line works here.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're upset here with something, but his face while he was acting did him absolutely no favors.
I have some like borderline notes just so we can keep a general flow. I immediately remember Nick Jonas raps a cappella. This happens within the first 3 minutes of the movie.
Bring on these rock-solid rods, because we just love dicing the odds. Let the losers be the losers, leave the winners in charge. Our engines bring on the hurt.
I remember when the first time we watched it, you were like, get ready. And I was like, what do you mean? And then he started rapping. There was no dialogue before that.
Is this a Bollywood movie?
He has 2 lines of dialogue on a walkie-talkie. We see a policeman who we later learn is like trying to kill these children. And then he just starts freestyle rapping. It's awesome. It's like barely addressed. It's his only musical number. And the instrumental is so goddamn quiet, you can't hear it.
Where they're crying.
So that was already a bad start.
I think that's a great way to start your movies.
I was so pissed.
I want every movie to start rapping with poorly dubbed audio.
I mean, we basically had discount like Nirvana in the soundtrack. They kept playing the same song over and over again. It's so funny.
I thought it sounded like the Daredevil theme.
We get introduced to our main character, David. And you know, usually when you establish a character, especially if they're a kid, you want to show like, hey, they're fun, they're friendly, they're looking to have a good time, they might be a little rascal. And how do they show this? By having him spit toothpaste on fucking strawberries as his mom's making lunch.
David's such a piece of shit. And then he's like not reprimanded for
He just
it
is like,
at all.
ha ha ha.
And then he's like,
leaves.
and then
he
and then
does
he sits-
nothing.
All of the cues that I picked up were visual cues because I legitimately could not follow the dialogue. But
I do want to say, when we were wrapping up, we watched the movie and we were getting ready to do our like look back. Our movie kept playing, so the credits were rolling, and they had like post-movie like narrative shit happening. And there was a scene where he goes up with his toothbrush to the strawberries again, and he like almost spits, and then his dad's like, David.
what?
And then he like walks away and he's like, I've learned.
Okay, I get it.
He's like a serial fruit ruiner.
He has an addiction.
This is like this is a cycle that needs to be broken.
We also learned that his sister is. His sister is a Therian. She is a badger.
That pretty much sums up his sister's entire character.
Yeah.
She is scaredy cat. She's scared of heights. She is a badger that's a guy, and that's all her character is.
Yeah.
Who wears a hot dog?
Why am I wearing the hot dog? Ah!
Yeah, she's mad about the hot dog, and he is just fucking happy as a clam
Cucumber man, I'm a cucumber man.
to be a
as a
giant
cucumber.
cucumber.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, mind you, for the first act of this entire movie, David is a cucumber. And if that sounds like, oh, you're making it up, Tony, no. Here's every scene of him as a cucumber laid on top of each other, like the split screen that's gonna happen later. Editing Tony, I'm sorry.
I'm not doing that.
There's one scene where David, who's wearing a tutu in the cucumber head, because of course, and his head is just photoshopped on.
No one will help you now, David. I'm not gonna quit. I want to be a racer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just pure cinema. He's a cucumber. His sister is a badger hot dog. His parents are pirates?
Vague pirates.
But then he becomes a ballerina cucumber.
Yes.
And then an altar boy cucumber.
You need to watch the
You
movie.
need to watch the movie, Jesse.
Is Jesse off
She
screen?
just
like,
walked by like, what? We're
So-
just
Jesse,
stating facts
you know,
of the movie.
Jesse knows as much as we do, and we have seen the movie 1.5 times.
You've seen the
They've
movie
it 1.5.
4 times now.
That's wild.
I feel like I know less now. The more you watch it, the more questions you get, and there are no answers to be found.
No.
at all. Not a single one.
Like, they don't even try and wrap anything up.
Because we also, like, we skipped the middle chunk our first watching.
because it was 3 a.m.
That changed nothing about the movie.
I think we knew more when we did skip the middle.
Yeah.
I genuinely think we did.
I feel like because we skipped the middle and we were seeing things we didn't understand, our brains logically tied knots together that would like narratively make sense in a movie.
they filled in the blank.
So like the movie in my brain that happens to the half that we didn't see makes more sense than the movie we actually watched all the way through.
Because, and we're gonna get into this movie makes no goddamn sense.
Holy Sunday drivers. Jesus, forgive me. The castle is the castle.
Like, not in the slightest. I still don't get it. It was horrible. It was a horrible movie to watch.
But it's also the best movie.
But
and I love
it was also kind of great.
And if those who were there would be allowed to speak about it, then even you two dumbasses would know that all world championships come from there.
She called you a dumbass.
I also wrote down in my notes that they have an obsession with saying the word ass.
I can't use you for anything. You're just a blunderhead, a moron.
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
First dumbass!
Any iteration of ass, but especially dumbass.
I'm gonna get you for this, dumbass.
Dad, he called me a dumbass.
I don't know if like maybe it was like a direct translation and that's just like a very common word in what, German?
Yeah.
That, or they are just very lazy translators.
Some other notes, police wants to fucking kill children. That's just a subplot that happens, and it's insinuated he wants to murder these children because they're doing illegal go-kart races, because it's this thing called the castle. How do we get to the castle, gentlemen? We all know.
We all know
it's
with the
it's
go,
the- what-
seven coins,
follow
and they
the
flip the castle.
Yeah.
And the
yeah, find the secret.
I watched the movie.
I watched the movie too. I'll fact check myself, but I think it's
7 races, 7 victories, 7 towers.
and they're racing to get The towers?
What the fuck are the towers?
There were only 4 coins.
Yeah, there were only 4 coins. So there's 4 coins, 4 towers, and the racing.
No, but there were no towers.
We didn't see a tower or a castle or any of that.
I feel like we're in a therapy session, like we're going through PTSD of something.
Yeah, I feel
we
like
can't phrase it.
like we just watched that, and I feel like I'm trying to dig up a suppressed memory. That's how confusing it is.
Okay, so there's 4 kids, right? There's David the cucumber, Luca, blonde girl. I genuinely do not know her name.
Never gets a name drop.
And then there's Robin, and Robin is the rich kid. They keep calling him an upstart like it's a slur. And Robin,
He's an upstart. A rich ass.
we first see him on the racetrack, and Robin is hauling ass around this and gets a kart record, and his dad is there. His dad's evil, I guess. There's the race owner, and by the way, the race owner looks fucking pissed, right?
For whatever reason,
don't
he's
know
just
why.
mad.
He's watching Robin compete, and the second Robin starts racing, David immediately starts doing a Shakespearean monologue to no one in an Ultra Boy costume.
0.7 seconds. Do you know anyone quicker?
No, I don't know anyone. Holy turbocharger, that dude's good.
He just started! Holy turbocharger! Robin's doing this very complex racing, and then David runs out as the cucumber.
That scene doesn't make any fucking sense because I understand that he's like excited and he's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. But then he starts to look like he's about to run out on the track while Robin is racing.
There's no explanation why he does that, and he doesn't have any remorse for it. He doesn't even like acknowledge that he did that.
Not even a little bit of remorse, which is hilarious because Robin obviously wipes out because he just got jump scared by the Christian church. And and the dad's like, oh, that's not fair. The kid obviously distracted him, which you know is the truth.
Forget that. He doesn't have time.
That's what he looks like.
And the race owner immediately is like, that's it.
We're gonna race again. No, we won't be doing that.
He had one chance.
He had his chance.
This guy is so funny. He sees the kid mess up once. He's clearly doing great. Then a fucking altar boy runs out and he's like, fuck it. Never had a chance.
Your kid actually fucking sucks.
And then he leaves. He has 2 lines in the entire movie. Those 2 lines at the start, and then there's one at the very end.
He was the pan.
I'm very proud of you.
He was the man. I'm very proud of you.
I'm very proud of you.
It's also there's that one scene where he's driving under the truck and his dad's like, I love you!
But I love you. I don't know why I just made him.
It's Jerry Seinfeld.
Kind of made him sound like Seinfeld there for a second. Robin, I love you. I'm sure you can get another shot with the racing guy. We'll get it back on the track.
So Robin is mad, and he's so mad he does like the theater, like stop. He's not even looking at the kids because I was gonna call him Drake. What's his name? David runs up.
David, Drake, and Josh.
David, Drake, and Josh. Yes, the Drake. We'll call the other 2.
Drake and Josh.
I mean, might as well. Who fucking knows their names? So we have David, Drake, and Josh, and Robin's like, hush. But then he's immediately receptive to them because earlier when the police was chasing them, they found the coins, right?
Yeah.
Still don't know why the coins ever came into play.
They were all there at the same time for no explanation.
The plot just kind of happens.
They force the plot down your throat, but here's the problem. There isn't one.
Yep.
Because it jumps back and forth from so many different plot lines that by the end of the movie, I feel like I've watched 5 or 6 movies that all have nothing to do with each other.
I think the best comparison I could make, and this might be a deep cut if you're not in the movie reviewers scene, it's kind of like they treat scenes and subplots in this movie like they do the movie Love on a Leash.
Oh, the dog movie?
Yes, the dog movie where she falls in love with a dog. You know how there's like 18 different subplots and they happen one at a time? It's like that movie.
Yeah, but at least in this one, they kept bringing them back when they didn't make sense to the movie anymore.
Yeah, I get you.
We then cut to Robin and his dad at the longest dinner table ever alone.
It's a bomb.
He has like a quiche? What is it called? The cloche?
Fancy.
That they never opened because they probably didn't budget for food props.
The food props budget is at an all-time low, especially at the celebratory scene when they win, spoiler alert.
They had 8 burgers for that whole movie, and they used all of them in 2 scenes.
Our burger budget! We blew our burger budget!
I mean, the budget thing, though, trips me up because it's Universal International that's producing it.
I think they just bought the rights.
Fair.
They definitely came in after the fact.
So Act 1, Robin is really thinking about doing this, and they all hear from the coins that, by the way, every time the coin flips, it says in the dopiest voice ever.
Wait, oh wait.
Find the secret.
It makes me laugh every single time I hear it.
It's so dumb.
I think I know who that is.
Who?
I think we see him later in the movie.
Who is it?
I think it's the guy watching the...
You think it was the photo finish
I think it's
guy?
the fax machine Mad Max guy. When you see the movie, you'll know.
Obviously, come on, we all know.
You do need to watch the movie to get anything that we're talking about.
Everybody knows the fax machine Mad Max guy. Come on. I don't know if he, in the lore, voiced the coin because of reasons, or they just needed a dude to say this line and he was there.
But why did they have the coin?
I guess it was their ticket to get introduced to the Barracudas, which is, by the way, Nick Jonas at the beginning who did the rapping.
Yeah, but they don't make themselves very secretive.
Before we officially dive into the race plot of this, Act 1 ends with like Robin's father basically saying if he decides to do the race, he no longer has a father.
Yeah, he disowns him.
You and I are no longer family.
I don't get it. Are the stakes that high?
If the stakes are that high, they are not properly established.
No, not even a little
guys,
bit.
There's no stakes. They couldn't afford the...
Oh, that's right. It's
food.
burgers.
Shut the fuck up. With the end of Act 1, we get established the stakes with the Barracudas. And if you don't know what the Barracudas are, I think this scene will properly explain it. And properly is in as many quotations as I can fit on the screen. So we're Act 2. They have to go into their hole or whatever that graffiti said. Anyways, they have to go in as the four of them, David, Drake, Josh, and Robin. But Robin isn't there, so the Barracudas jump them.
And then tie them to like a bike rack.
It's literally a bike rack attached to nothing.
And it's just like a freestanding rack. They spend entirely too long trying to tie these people to this thing.
They're all the prepubescents. They don't...
Yeah, but if you could tie a fucking shoe,
They
you could
didn't
tie...
finish Boy Scouts yet. They didn't get to the knot
They didn't get to the
class.
sailor knots.
I mean, the age difference between the two parties is crazy. V8, our main characters, are like maybe 8, 9, maybe 10.
I'd say
but
like 10.
the Barracudas are at least 21. I still think Nick Jonas's character, oh, by the way, it's not Nick Jonas, but it looks like him to me. It was like 27, at least.
At least the guy doing his dub was.
The myth will finally come true. Then we'll finally get...
Into the castle.
And you into hell.
Holy crap and lightning.
The cards are stacked against them. We get more of lore about the castle, and the castle is the main race, I think. Emphasis on I think.
Dude, I'm gonna be real. I don't think I could explain anything that happens until the final race of this.
Yeah, I don't...
We've seen the whole movie, and it doesn't make it any clearer.
That whole bit right in the... There is about an hour and 15 minutes right in the middle of the movie that I don't think I fully comprehend.
It's mush. It's just mush.
It's nothing.
I can help explain the movie. This is Kevin's Movie Corner. The castle is a castle, and the racing scenes are a metaphor for racing. Or is that a synonym? Sorry, I just learned words.
Is there anything in that? There's probably some stuff of substance, but
There were the babies. Remember the babies?
Oh yeah, the grown men dressed up as babies.
Yeah, to explain. To compete for the castle, V8 has to make a pact to pledge their loyalty to the castle, but after they all agree, Nick Jonas finally explains that they must be loyal, even if it means death. But death is being big-ass grown baby man tied to wall. Was I lying when I said this movie makes no goddamn sense? One of my favorite lines of the movie happens at the end because they need to disperse, and Nick Jonas says they need to
Make like Donald and Duck before the cops find them.
make like Donald and Duck and get out of this.
Oh yeah, make like Donald and Duck before the cops show up. What a baller line.
There's so many fire lines in this movie. It's insane.
I'll eat a gas pump.
We need like a quote shirt. All the most beautiful lines.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Holy Turbo.
Holy Turbo!
They said, I'm pretty sure three separate characters said that in this movie.
And then the whole back of the shirt is just dumbass, dumbass,
Dumbass. Asshole, ass, dumbass.
They called one person
They
a
got
pussy.
one pussy.
I'm gonna be a pro. Why do you think they'd take someone like you? A pussy who chickens out and breaks his word.
He just said
Did he just
pussy.
call him a pussy?
Bro, they know that word?
You know how like most PG-13 movies have like, oh, they can drop one F-bomb? This movie uses the P-bomb as in the word pussy. Every line of dialogue feels like the actor's like, this doesn't sound right.
Oh no, yeah. They're so trying to force it.
The person behind is like, more energy, more energy. It's like, I don't know, this line's a little, like, are you sure we shouldn't change a little bit? No, this is what they want. Okay. Make like dumbass and get out of here.
Make like dumbass and dumbass. Like, perfect. Let's move on. I'm fairly certain they just got them to come in and say a bunch of words and then just sewed them all together.
Splice it, yeah.
I am so convinced that this script at least is AI generated.
It feels like it's one of those songs or something that someone like runs through a translator 10 times back and forth.
That was sore. It was meant to be. And let me warn you all, I'm already 12, but I don't want anything to do with boys. Not yet, anyway.
And then there's like a whole 40 minutes. Robin is like a rat or whatever. Like his dad is like using him to get.
Yeah, he's got a wire.
Hey, editing Tony here. I just want to summarize this point as in I think we misunderstood it because, you know, it's very easy to. I don't think Robin is using a wire here, but his dad is tailing him with the policeman who ate like his badge earlier in the film. I know, right? And like dialogue that I listened to, the policeman is like, I know them, like I can say something, but the dad is like, I want to see how this plays out. So the adults all know about the castle and it's very illegal, I think. This movie makes no sense. So the middle, there's a few characters we're introduced to. Sam and Frodo just keeps getting mentioned.
No explanation.
I don't know if they look like them, which they don't. You could have been like, lean into the Peter Pan thing. Why bring fucking Lord of the Rings into this?
Yeah.
Dude, I swear to God, the Peter Pan plot lasts for the first act.
Yeah, like the cops are standing there like, oh, what are we, some kind of Peter Pan? And nothing happens after that.
They mentioned that the castle is like taboo for adults and it's a secret racing circle, so that's established. And then forget all that, we see some kids do some like training montage and the kid crashes and he's pissed, but of course he doesn't die. There was also a whole swimming pool scene, but I'm cutting that because that was weird.
So weird.
Yeah, that's the whole middle act of this movie.
Yeah, I can't exactly tell you anything that happens in the middle. We can skip ahead to the end scene, maybe.
Yeah, which we're going to do. So act 3, does anyone want to take the mantle here? Because I can't even like think of a way to start.
Well, I hope you guys like Mario Kart.
Because that's exactly what it looks like.
About to see some Mad Max live action go-karts.
Yeah.
And
so
yeah,
sorry, you go.
No. Please don't make me.
The Barracudas have been terrorizing V8. That's our team. Josh, I think that's what we're calling the Badger. Josh is like, oh no, I'm a scaredy cat. And Josh is afraid of heights. And then Josh is on this 20-foot tall Chevy Impala hood or whatever it is.
It's like an engine block.
Yeah, it's a suspended engine that was only referenced once before, but very quickly.
But it shoots plungers.
That was not mentioned.
That was not mentioned before. Yeah.
So that's that scene. Then we cut to the castle scene or the race scene, whatever it's called. It's awesome. And how do we get established to our characters? Because Barracuda's setting up, they're kind of running the race. We're kind of establishing that they might be cheating. It does not matter at all. V8 comes out, and how do you think they come out?
Well, you gotta come full circle. I mean, the movie started with a bang.
So you gotta do a musical number.
Listen to the heartbeat of the streets, because Kiki Lilu created these beasts and
so
engage a gear.
Did she just whip? I'm pretty sure she just whipped.
Once again, they're a cappella rapping, but it's a really quiet dubstep instrumental. And then when they end on the hardest line, we get probably my favorite line that makes no goddamn sense.
Is it true that barracudas swim backwards?
But they swim faster forwards.
You know when you gotta like talk smack to your opponent right before like a big race or a big fight? I wonder if she was just so nervous. She was like, think of Barracuda facts. I don't know.
Well, she seemed like pretty confident with it when it came out. And she said, how could I forget? She says something along the lines of, Tony, help me out here. She said what she said.
It's like, do you know that barracudas swim backwards? And then Nick Jonas claps back with, but they swim faster forwards. And then we cut back to Josh and she's just...
But the way she's treating it is like he clapped back so good.
He did.
But he didn't. But she didn't clap at him at all.
It's psychological warfare. Confuse your opponent.
You know?
So we finally get to the racing, and mind you, by the way, it's best out of 2, which makes no sense. The first one is a game of chicken, and they want to get one of the coins. Robin floors it, and MagCon guy freaks out.
Wrap with glue!
And chickens out, so Robin grabs the coin. They are up 1-0. And I'd love to mention that the crowd is all on the side of the Barracudas, and they're all voiced by one person.
No! Oh my...
You cut to a crowd shot and it's just like one dude in the booth.
They don't even like layer it more than twice though. It's just like, yeah. So it's second round and David just doesn't go when the race starts. And AJ, you described this in, what was the way you equated it to?
There's a moment in Speed Racer that was like very similar where he's in the final race, his new car, he's sitting in his new car, shit's not going his way, and like they have this whole like flashback moment that kind of like explains to you, builds up to what all of this is led for, what he's racing for,
Dust,
why is he
noise,
doing
and
that,
gasoline.
and then he
Here
just
come
like
Dave
kicks ass
and
and drives away.
Yeah.
And then David is just like, you guys broke it, and then he needs like a pep talk.
But like he didn't. It wasn't broken.
Yeah, he just didn't want to drive. I have no idea why he was like being a grumpy bitch.
We learned that there's a boot in the engine, but it still works. So that meant nothing.
It was like David thought his team sabotaged him, or he was like embarrassed that like the girl was into the other guy, so he like acted like he thought everyone sabotaged him and everyone hates him and stormed off so the girl would come and talk to him. It was so weird.
Drake gives him a pep talk, and that's her character.
But then after that, he comes back and he's like, I was never mad. I love you guys.
He goes from, I'm quitting the race, I hate you guys, and then 2 minutes later, high hopes, David, or whatever he says. So the VA have won the first race and the Barracudas have won the second race, which means all of them are fighting and driving against each other, which means we have insane split screens on every scene.
They're not even split screens.
They're like multicam fucking.
It's like duped the same screen for like action shots. When I would equate like a split screen is like there's multiple things happening on screen and they're showing two angles of like what the scene is happening, and these are just like here's the same shot 4 times stacked on each other
and then 4 times next, so it's 12 and 16. You'll be like, okay, this looks cool, and then you realize, wait, that's the same shot, same angle, same everything. But we've neglected to mention the best part about this race. There's a fucking HUD on screen.
I thought it was funny.
AJ, can you once again explain your like problems with it?
You want to keep your action and your narrative going in a race, and you want to explain to the audience what's happening. Usually that's done with clever editing. Or, I don't know, you could do like a drone shot and show what's happening. And they were just decided, yeah, this is all just repetitive dirt. I don't feel like keeping anything consistent. So we're just gonna slap a HUD of the Mario Kart map at the bottom of the screen, and we'll just like, I don't know, keyframe the dots where they probably are.
And that should be good.
Like, I shouldn't have to look at the bottom of the screen and see they're on their last lap, and that's what makes me excited that, oh my god, the race is almost over, who's gonna win? That should be done through like
either dialogue
or just show like them passing over the finish. Like lap 3.
Or cut to Drake and Josh and be like, oh my god, they're almost done.
That's the last.
Who's gonna win?
The last lap.
The funny thing is, I think they do that, but the dialogue makes no fucking sense, so you don't feel any of that tension or excitement.
Yeah, they didn't
Honestly,
do it well
what
enough.
they should have done is just don't do 3 damn laps. Just make it 1 lap so we don't get confused. We keep seeing the same terrain over and over again.
You wanna know what's crazy to me though? Despite like how janky this movie is, I will 1000% give it props that almost everything here is practical. Even though the movie is very confusing to watch and makes no sense, they're clearly doing these racing for real and these racing stunts. And they could have done so much more with that final scene because they clearly were on location. They had the talent to drive it. We've seen the quality of VFX in this film with his head on it.
Yeah,
it's so clearly real.
Well, I'm saying that like the terrain around where they were, obviously it looks like there were plenty of hills. Could they just like plonk a camera up there with a telephoto and get some kind of like reference of where I am in the race?
The thing with the track was it wasn't like a loop or anything. They would just do the same track like pretty much every time.
And if we weren't staring at a Mario Kart map the whole time, that would make no sense at all.
As much as we clown on the HUD, I think we needed the HUD.
They probably filmed the whole thing and then they're in the editing room and they're like, shit, how do we know what's going on? So they just slapped it on.
They're in the editing bay like, dude, we just made V8, what the fuck?
What is left after that?
We're in the final lap. One of the other guys wiped out. It does not matter at all. They finally activate their turbo that they've been building up to for like the entire movie. I think. MagCon guy activates his turbo, and then David activates his double turbo.
Hell yeah.
And it's a photo finish. It's like that scene in Oppenheimer where everything's silent even though everyone's excited. We only hear Josh go, yeah! And then Nick Jonas comes up to MagCon guy and is like,
He's like, hey, do you agree?
Do you agree, Hal?
MagCon guy, of course, is like, it's a photo finish because we're led to believe it's an exact photo finish. But then we cut to the best character of the entire movie.
This old guy.
Mad Max fax machine guy who's just on the top of some hill.
I
Like
Mad
way
Max
up
facts.
there.
Mad Max facts fucks. You know what I'm saying?
So we cut to this guy, of course. Immediately so many questions, but we don't get any answers. So Nick Jonas calls out to this guy who's like at least 100 feet away, and he does it with a very quiet volume.
Hey, Judge, tell us what the photo finish says.
And the guy just leans over to a fax machine that has camo on it, and it prints out a photo. He looks at it, and then it goes, the race is over.
V8 is the winner.
And then that's the last we see.
That honestly was, I think, my favorite delivery of the whole movie because they didn't show his face after that. It just showed all of the kids. V8 has won. And that was it.
And then we cut to the 4 children. Yeah! As confetti explodes.
Confetti the color of their shoelaces.
Confetti the color of dumbass. Then we cut to a celebratory party, and we've been talking about the food budget. And this is really exemplified in this scene because in this party scene of them eating burgers and soda pop, there was not one bite out of the burger, and there is not one drink that is even open or has been sipped.
Well, dude, they had to return the drinks afterwards. Those were not in the budget.
yeah.
You're right, my bad. At the party, like they're in the backyard of like their truck garage or whatever, and we see the dad and the police officer who wants to kill them just looking at them from binoculars, and like the dad says,
this story is far from over, or something like
Yeah.
Yeah, he says that exactly. Then we cut to even more of the party scene.
And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
Would you believe me if there's a fucking sequel to this?
No, but I know there is.
Anyways, guys, let's go watch it.
Oh my God.
Now that we've hit the end of this confusing movie that I've definitely had to like Frankenstein this video around to even remotely explain, what do we think? Because we've seen the movie, we've talked about it, we've had a nice long discussion, and it seems like we all are at the beginning of when we first watched this movie. We don't understand what we're getting into.
I still don't have an opinion on it because I still don't fucking get it.
I have a newfound appreciation for filmmakers because every movie could be like this, and it's not. And I think that's a success.
If we had to put this movie in one word, what would we say?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Dumbass.
What?
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
It's dumbass,
It's
yeah.
dumbass. Or pussy, because that was so out of left field.
And with that, guys, make sure to subscribe to help me in my quest to go from underrated to just rated.
And
Don't forget to politely press that like button because it's been obliterated too many times.
I finally made you guys do a call to action. Let's go.
We did it.
And guys, where can people find you?
Well, you can find us on the big wide world of YouTube.
Yeah.
Over at the Sour Pack channel, where Sour Pack, we make videos kind of like this, and then we also do gameplay videos.
Oh, this is an easy one. You can do this.
Yeah, if you like fun react shit, we do that. If you like chill gaming shit, we do that.
And if you enjoyed this video and want to see us ride and eat every ride-themed food at Hershey Park in one day, it's over on their channel, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is, no pun intended, a roller coaster of a video. I will say this because they will not say it. Go over and subscribe to them. They are the definition of underrated. They have been going at it for so long.
Next year is 10.
Next year will be 10 years, yeah.
And they are only at 500 subscribers, which is a fucking crime, so go and subscribe to them. I have been their #1 supporter ever since, and we can finally fact check this. I've been to your guys' place twice.
It is so true. It is true. We would have said thank you, Tony, for having us on.
Yeah,
this
you.
has been very fun. I know we've been talking about doing this for a long time, so I'm happy that we finally got to do it.
Yeah.
We love you, buddy.
Here.
So thank
We
you.
love you. Oh, thanks, man. I love you too, both.
Kevin, we love you.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yay.
Yay.
So to summarize, I'll hopefully see you guys this month or next month. I don't know. I'm going to be back at college. So and until then, Kevin's in charge.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kevin the chair.
Hey, he does not fucking sound like that.